So we are back with part 20 now. It's gonna get to. I think the finale will probably be like part 22, part 23. I'm not sure how many chapters there are left, but sod it, let's continue. Find out who actually did this murder. So, how could someone so professional, like military trained, die? 2 people haven't showed up. Where the heck have you two been? You just disappeared without a word. We were investigating, of course. How could you not figure it out by this point? Makoto's ranked high enough for you guys to go off together? Oh, I see, they meant us two then. Makoto's ranked high enough for you guys to go off together, just the 2 of you.
Huh?
What, are you jealous?
Hey!
Or are you making it some kind of creepy fantasy for yourself?
What?
Stop talking and brace yourselves. He'll be here any second. Any second? He could show up at any time. But we stood there for a full 5 minutes waiting for something weird to happen, and then 5 minutes became 10.
Why?
What's going on here? Why hasn't Monokuma shown up yet?
Could it be?
Maybe he died again. What should we do? Should we keep waiting here or... or what? Jesus. Did I scare you?
Come on.
I demand an explanation. Why do you waste my time and make me wait like that? What? I made you wait? You got it all backwards. You're the ones making me wait. Huh?
In other words,
I'm waiting for everyone to arrive. We can't start till everyone's here now, can we? What are you talking about? Everyone is here. We've all been waiting for you. Sorry, you're wrong. But I've been waiting 10 minutes now, so it's okay if I punish that one making us all wait, right? If we all agree, it's a violation. I'll arrange a punishment right now. If it's me you're waiting for, I'm here.
Hey,
Kyoko, you're back. Yes. Can't tell you how much I'm smiling right now. Kyoko is waifu. She is Danganronpa detective waifu. I'm here and no rules have been broken. Kyoko! You're still alive. That's a ghost. Stop talking. If you want to do it in the clash trial, you need to save some of the fun for later, right?
What?
But if it's okay, there's no particular penalty for being late.
is that right?
I made it here just fine. What school regulation did I violate? Am I wrong? You're so selfish, so spoiled. You're right, there's no penalty officially, but I bet you'll be sorry later.
shing!
No, I'll make sure you're sorry later. Anyway, hustle your butts onto the elevator. I'll be just one step ahead of you. We all rushed up to Kyoko. Kyoko! So you really didn't die?
Indeed.
Of course I didn't die. Thank God. I'm so glad you're okay. Perhaps, but that's not necessarily a good thing for us. Huh? He's right, now we gotta deal with a ghost. I told you, stop talking.
Let's go.
Come on, let's just go. Whatever we need to discuss, we can do during the trial. Master, wait for me. Good call. Who knows what might happen to us if we take too long.
But
I'll be happy with this trial when this trial is all over. One after another, we all piled onto the elevator. But I can't help myself. I need to talk to Havoc before the trial started. Listen, before we get started, I have to ask you, where have you been this whole time? I used that key of yours to get somewhere I didn't you? So
Correct.
I went to investigate the 2nd floor on the dorms. The 2nd floor?
That's right.
There aren't any monitors or cameras there, so I was able to avoid Monokuma completely. Of course, I also missed his announcement because of that.
Whew.
I had no idea a body had been discovered. Then what did you find out?
So...
Just now I finished my search and came back down, just in time to hear the clash trial announcement. I took some time to get over the crime scene first. I can't go to the trial completely uninformed, can I? So that's why you're late.
However...
I'm sorry I kept you all waiting. But if you were on the 2nd floor of the dorms, then what's the key you found goes to?
Wrong.
Actually, to be precise, not quite.
In other words...
I used Monokuma's secret tool, which can open any lock in the school. What?
Just a second.
Hey, what are you doing? Hurry up before we get in trouble with Monokuma.
Makoto.
We can go over the details after we get through the trial, okay, Makoto? Right now, I just want to focus on surviving our current situation.
It would seem...
Because this is probably the single most crucial moment so far for me. For her? That's a strange way to put it. The cash trial is important for everyone, right? So I actually say it's the most crucial moment for her.
Goodbye.
What if that's all? Being the last one left, I stepped into the elevator. This time, the clunking was loud enough to hurt my ears, and the dread began to consume me once again. I can't imagine ever getting used to the mental pressure that comes with preparing for execution. Oh, in that dusky darkness, I said a word. We just stood there silent and still. The doors opened without warning. A dazzling light penetrated even through depths of my eyes. But it wasn't the illumined light of hope. It was despair. Blinding light of despair.
I can't wait! I can't
It
wait!
really feels like it's been ever since we got together like this. The time for pointless jokes and jabs have passed. Let's get on with the show. And so the curtain opened for the 5th time. A deadly judgment, a deadly deception, a deadly betrayal. A deadly riddle, a deadly defense, a deadly faith, a deadly clash trial. I'm gonna run out of safe spaces soon. I did gain some skills, but, well, SP points, but I don't have anything to spend them on. Oh well. Befriending Baki was a great idea. I have so much health
Let's
now.
begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the Blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay, well, I'll leave the rest up to you.
Well then, let's discuss the specifics of the victim. First, we need to clarify who exactly the unidentified victim is.
It's Kyoko. There's no other explanation.
But she's right there, you idiot.
But Kyoko's standing right there.
No, that's a ghost.
But she has legs and stuff.
Well, that's just because she's like the latest evolution in ghost technology.
There's a limit to how much ridiculousness I can tolerate.
Okay. So I just have to prove that the corpse isn't Kyoko, right? Then let's compare Kyoko's traits to the traits of the dead body.
Her traits?
I can't believe we're actually doing this. She's right there.
I got it! I'm talking about her gloves. They'll give us some insight into the mystery. I'm sure of it.
In that case, I think it would be helpful if someone explained why she actually wears those gloves.
And would you happen to know the answer?
Oh shit. If we do know the answers, you might get mad. I like how I don't have to say every line, they say it for me, so now I can just talk about the case when it's paused like this.
In fact, Monokuma told me. Apparently you have scars on your hands you don't want anyone to see.
Oh.
Oh, you know, now that I think about it, the corpse wasn't wearing any gloves, right?
They probably just got burnt up in the explosion.
He's being very defensive.
I'm not convinced. The ghost is just trying to fool us all.
There's no way that the corpse was Kyoko, but if I can't prove why, we're gonna have to be stuck here and the case won't move forward. Wait, Kyoko's right there, so I've no choice but to... Tattoo on the right hand. Fake nails.
That Kyoko there is just a...
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
they got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Cause that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
Thank you, it is. You have to prove to this idiot that the fucking it's Kyoko.
That Kyoko there is just a...
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she...
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the
Then she was wearing gloves.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
Fuck it.
Cause that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
I'm just gonna take random shots.
Kyoko.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove
The dead body wasn't.
They got burnt up in the...
Then she was wearing gloves.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
No.
Shoot!
It's a good thing I have a lot of health.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it.
The dead body wasn't wearing.
They got burnt up in...
Then she was wearing gloves before the
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
There we go. Oh, that
No,
makes
it's
sense
wrong.
now. You can't wear gloves and fingernails, can you?
No. There's no way the corpse was wearing gloves. Whoever it was, they were wearing fake nails, remember? I imagine trying to wear gloves over nails like that would have been a pretty big pain. Besides, Kyoko wears gloves to hide her hands, right? It'd be pretty weird for someone who's self-conscious about their hands to wear fake nails, don't you think?
Jeez, man, you don't know women, huh? They're complicated like that.
Wow.
If anyone doesn't know women, it's you.
Well, Kyoko, any thoughts?
These gloves were custom made to the size of my hands to make sure they don't interfere with my daily life. If I wore fake nails, the gloves wouldn't fit properly.
Then that's that. The dead body doesn't belong to Kyoko.
Which should have been obvious since she's standing right here.
Okay, so then, who's the real victim? First, we need to figure that out.
That's the first thing I said. You're the one who's been dragging us around in circles.
Sprinklers exploded bonnet, tattoo on right hand.
If Kyoko really is still alive, then who died?
There's gotta be some way to figure it out. I don't think so. The face was scorched beyond recognition. And there wasn't any description in the Monaco. Well, if we can't identify the body...
Then there's nothing else we can do, right? If Kyoko really is still alive,
Tattoo on the right hand.
then who died?
There's gotta be some... I don't think so.
The face was scorched beyond recognition.
Okay, yeah, that was bad.
Shoot!
It's knowing where to put it,
If
okay?
Kyoko really is, then who died?
There's gotta be... I don't think so. And there wasn't any description... Well, if we can't
Yeah, that's
identify
better.
the body...
No, that's wrong. There was one clue left behind that we can use to identify the body.
What? For real? If you're lying, you'll die a cruel and unusual death.
Cruel and unusual death. This I gotta see.
She's just being stupid. Ignore them, Makoto. Tell us what you're talking about.
The key to figuring out who it was is the tattoo on the back of her hand.
Oh, yeah. The design's pretty strange, huh? Is this a dog? Her master must have made her get it. To be like, you're my bitch.
It's fucking hilarious hearing her say that.
Seriously? They really did something that humiliating?
No, that's not it. The identity of the victim is hidden within that tattoo.
Oh, really?
How the cow, you've been playing that all night? No. Well, I made a lot in one go. I made a lot in one. Well, with that we can continue. Whoa, really? If you compare the tattoo to the... Alright, thank you. If you compare the tattoo to the other information we have... What other information?
Shoot!
I doubt it, this is difficult. I don't know. There's only one thing I can think of.
I got it!
There we go. I didn't think that would
The
work.
Fenrir Mercenary Corps. That's the name of the military group Mukuro Ikusaba belonged to.
Okay, so...
To show that they're a member of the team, each soldier that joins the squad would get a tattoo
Okay.
representing Fenrir somewhere on their body.
Fenrir?
Hangman's Gambit. What's this? Wolf. Wolf. Woon. Woola. There we go.
Now I understand. The representation of Fenrir is a wolf.
Fenrir, the Wolf of Ragnarok. It's from Norse mythology. A huge, world-ending wolf beast. He's the child of the trickster god Loki, and a female giant.
Man, after all this time, we finally got a glimpse of the literary all-star.
A wolf tattoo. Then that means...
Exactly. The body we found had a tattoo of a wolf. Which means that person must have once belonged to Fenrir. So it must have been Mukuro.
What?
Hold on. Isn't she the one that was behind this whole thing?
You sound surprised, but you're absolutely right. Yes, indeed. The trial this time is to solve the murder of Mukuro Ikusaba.
Are you saying the mastermind is dead? And now we have to have a cool-ass trial?
No. It means we were wrong in thinking that Mukuro was the mastermind at all.
But I mean, being the ultimate despair seems like a pretty mastermindy title to me.
Maybe we shouldn't have been thinking of her as the ultimate despair in the first place. After all, looking at her profile, I didn't see anything that would fit such a description. All it said was that she was the ultimate soldier. If I remember correctly, that other information came from Kyoko. That's what you told Makoto, right?
Oh god.
So that means Kyoko got it wrong?
Then who was she? Who was Mukuro Ikusaba? She's been gone this whole time, and when she finally turns up, she gets killed. Usually when there's a scene where an important character dies, it has a lot more detail.
So you're saying she wasn't an important character? Which would mean she was the same as us. Just another participant.
Then who's the real mastermind?
It must have been the Hope's Peak Academy headmaster after all.
No, the headmaster has nothing to do with it.
But how can we trust that? We already know your information about Mukuro was wrong.
My information was not wrong.
Okay. We're in the middle of a trial right now. Figuring out who killed Mukuro is first and foremost. Please limit all future prattle, chatter, and chit-chat as much as possible.
Fine. Uncovering the identity of the mastermind will have to wait. But remember this. No matter what happens, we will find out who you really are. I stake my family name on it.
I have officially decided to completely ignore all such attempts at provocation. Now then, just so nobody's confused, let me state this one more time for the record. The reason we're having a class trial is because a murder among the students has taken place. Hammer that point straight into your big ol' brains!
What you're saying is that both the victim and the culprit are part of the student body?
Then, one of us killed Mukuro?
Wait, no! There's a chance that there's some mystery 17th person who's been hiding all along!
Nope! There are only 16 students in total that have been taking part in these events.
Seriously? Then, one of us killed Mukuro?
Who did it? Who's the killer this time?
Get a hold of yourself. We've already narrowed down the list of possible suspects.
Huh?
I'm sure you realize who I'm talking about, right, Makoto? Who the evidence points to?
I got it! You've narrowed it down to Kyoko and me, right?
Oh god, it's one of us.
Why do you say that?
Allow me to explain. Just after nighttime last night, I went to the garden, so I can confirm that at that point, there was no dead body there. So, the murder must have taken place after I left the garden. However, Hiro, Toko, Hina, and I were in the gym the entire time.
The gym?
That's right. The four of us were there trying to dismantle Monokuma. The whole time, we were very careful not to go anywhere alone. We even went to the bathroom in pairs. All of which is to say, the four of us all have alibis. The only ones without alibis
Are me and Makoto. That's why you're able to narrow down the list of suspects.
exactly so.
So that only suspects now. They don't suspect now me and Kyoko. Damn it. I can't let this stand. Somehow I have to clear my name.
I have something I'd like to say regarding the whole alibi thing.
Are you thinking of raising an objection?
Well, before that, I just want to try and get a better idea of what time the murder took place. Doing that might reveal some kind of clue.
Whatever you want. Somebody go ahead and help him out.
Me and Byakuya can both confirm that the body wasn't in the garden at... Well, it was after nighttime for sure. I'd say it must have been around 10 o'clock. So the murder must have happened after 10 p.m.
Then I guess we can say the time frame for the murder was between then and when we found the body? Oh, but what time did we find the body?
The one who saw the body first was Toko, right? When she went to go get the pickaxe.
At 9 o'clock?
I got it! The body must have been discovered at 9 a.m., since that's when Toko went to get the pickaxe.
Now then, Toko, what time is it? Well, when we left the gym, it was just before 9 o'clock, so it's probably 9 and dot now. Okay, go get the pickaxe and be here by 9:01.
He's right. It had to be around then.
So we can be totally sure the murder happened sometime between 10 at night and 9 in the morning.
For me, I was already asleep before nighttime hit, so I don't have an alibi after 10 o'clock. But I'm sure I met up with everyone else before 9 this morning.
We ran into each other in the dining hall, right? That was around... Oh yeah! Right around 7:30. I remember checking right before I went in, so I'm totally sure about it.
Which means from 10 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., you don't have an alibi.
The murder happened between 10 p.m. and 9 a.m., and I don't have an alibi from 10 p.m. till 7:30. Okay, then it looks like the game has begun. If I can't prove an alibi for that period, then I just have to prove the murder didn't happen during the time I don't have an alibi. To do that, to make the gut clear when the body ended up in the garden. I think it's to do with the sprinklers. Yep.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the...
Yep, and Makoto doesn't...
Yeah, from 10 to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections,
Now would be the time.
Oh god.
we've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night
Wait,
and
did
9
she say
o'clock.
7:30?
Yep. And
Yeah, from to 7:30.
Oh, were the sprinklers?
Shoot!
We've established a time frame. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. And Makoto.
Yeah, from to 7:30.
That's more than enough time. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time.
I don't have a lot of time.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time.
There's something that happened in the gardens at the same time every morning. Thinking back, the corpse was almost totally dry. In which case, I should be able to figure out when the body must have appeared in the garden.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock
I
in the
don't know how
morning.
to put it though. Sod it.
Yep. And
I gotta do
Makoto
doesn't have
something.
Yeah, from to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder.
I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time.
Wish me good luck.
We've established a time frame for them. It took place
Somewhere between 10 o'clock.
There we go. I did it at the
No,
same time.
it's wrong. Actually, the murder couldn't have happened anywhere near 10 o'clock. It had to have taken place way later.
And what makes you say that?
Because of the sprinklers in the garden. The sprinklers are set to go off right at 7:30 every morning, right? So if the body had been in the garden before 7:30, then it should have been completely soaked.
Oh, hold on. I remember this part perfectly.
Hey, I remember.
The body was wet. Dripping wet, in fact.
Sorry, Toko, but you're wrong.
I'm wrong? How?
Because I threw a bucket
Are
on
you
it.
saying only the mouth down south was wet? How dare you spew such indecent words!
No, I'm saying that the body was wet, but not because of the sprinklers.
What do you mean? By denying the sprinkler, are you trying to deny my entire existence?
No, because if it was dry before the dry when we found it, and that was at 9, then it wasn't wet, so it couldn't have been before 7:30.
Man, you're totally wacko.
If you really think it wasn't the sprinkler, you'd better tell us why!
Because I threw a bucket of water on it. Oh shit. Okay.
I admit nothing. No!
They make me do a lot of these.
Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. No!
Kill them as quickly as possible.
Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I'm right about this. I admit nothing. No! That's enough! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. No! That's enough! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I'm right about
Hey,
this.
absolutely wrecked her.
How can you say it was
This should prove it. Just remember what the body was like after the explosion, and you'll see why it wasn't the sprinklers. The top half of the body was wet, yes, but the bottom half was completely dry. If the sprinklers got the body wet, shouldn't the whole body have been wet?
So they only got the top wet? The bottom was completely dry? What a brutal maniac!
I'm so sick of her.
Let's just move on. The reason only the top half was wet was because... while the body was still on fire, I doused it with water. But only the part on fire, the top half.
Oh, then I guess the sprinklers really didn't do it.
So if the sprinklers didn't get the body wet, then the murder must have taken place sometime after the sprinklers turned on at 7:30 in the morning.
Which means she must have been killed sometime between then and when the body was discovered at 9.
But Makoto's alibi was only missing from 10 o'clock last night to 7:30 this morning,
So
right?
I couldn't have
So
done
there's
it.
no way Makoto could have done it. I guess you had an alibi after all. Good for you.
Thank you.
In which case, the only one left without an alibi is Kyoko.
Oh god. Okay, you gotta defend yourself. No, I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe it. That's...
I'd just like to say one thing. If you vote for me and I die here, the mystery of this school will stay hidden forever. Which is why I can't let that happen.
So are you saying you're not the culprit?
Of course I'm not. I have no reason to kill anyone. This is a trap the mastermind has laid for us.
A trap?
A trap.
We're this far into the game and now you decide to blame me? Stop wasting time! Stop wasting energy! You really think your little trick is gonna work?
Shut up, you!
You got it, boss! Shutting up now!
Anyway, Kyoko, you actually did have a reason to kill her.
Huh? She did?
She thought Mukuro was the ultimate despair. In other words, the mastermind behind everything. So she killed her to try and put a stop to all this. Isn't that right, Kyoko? But you made one catastrophic mistake. Mukuro wasn't the mastermind at all. And as a result, we were forced into another trial. Something I'm sure you weren't at all expecting.
So, that was her motive?
If she had a motive and no alibi, well then, I think it's pretty clear Kyoko's gotta be the culprit.
It can't be.
I'm not the only one without an alibi. Makoto's explanation is still insufficient.
Really?
Huh?
The sprinklers didn't get the body wet, but that doesn't mean the murder happened when he said it did.
What are you...
No, she's probably deadly to me now, isn't she?
Because you see, there is a way the body could have avoided getting wet.
Interesting. I'm listening.
All it would take is covering the body with a certain something to keep it from getting wet.
I got
The
it!
tarp.
You're talking about the tarp, aren't you?
You catch on quick. You're right. All you'd have to do is cover the body with the tarp, and that'd take care of the water. In fact, that's exactly what the killer did. The dirt pattern on the tarp can attest to that. Only one side of the tarp got dirty, because that's the side that got covered in water. The side that faced down over the body, meanwhile, kept perfectly clean. This proves that the killer used the tarp to keep the body from getting soaked.
You know what? I can't. I'd give my life for Kyoko back here. So if you want to blame it all on me, go ahead.
But why would they go to all that effort just to keep the body from getting wet?
Most likely so they could cloud the issue of when the murder actually took place. In other words, to create an excuse exactly like the one Makoto just gave us.
She's pinning it on me. Why would Kyoko say that? Why would she want me to make it look like I'm the killer? No, I can't think about that right now. The tarp. If it was used the way Kyoko said, the tarp must have touched the body, right? That the body was bloody.
Wait.
Something's not right.
And what might that be?
I can't worry about Kyoko's motivation. If I do something, everyone's gonna think I'm the killer. I have to refute. Body before the explosion.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
I've never been anything.
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
Oh, that had to have been it.
By covering the killer prevents.
So the reason that
I'm gonna
the
have to
sprint-
refute
the underside was
Kyoko.
totally.
It's because that side was since it was facing down to. Of course it
Didn't get dirty.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Shoot!
By covering the body with the tarp,
The killer prevented it from.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side.
Oh shit, that's gonna fail. Yeah.
Shoot!
I just went for it.
by covering the body with the tarp.
The killer prevented it.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on is because the sprinkler got that side.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless.
It's because that side was protected from the water.
Oh, why?
Shoot!
I'm gonna die again.
By covering the body with the tarp,
What other
the
bullets do I
killer
have?
prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler.
But the underside of it was totally spotless.
It's because that side was protected from the water.
Ah. Yeah, I'm gonna fail this.
Shoot!
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler.
But the underside of it was totally.
It's because that side was protected from since it was facing down to. Of course it didn't.
Get dirty.
There we go.
No, that's wrong.
Right, I think I mixed up the bullets.
Actually, one side being clean is pretty strange if you think about it. Because the blood wasn't dry before the body got blown up, right? Byakuya said it himself. Not to touch it, or you might get some on you. If you put a tarp on a body in that state, it absolutely would have gotten blood on it.
Well, maybe the culprit washed it, so nobody would know they'd used it.
But one side's
If
still
they
dirty.
had, they would have washed both sides. Just washing the one side wouldn't hide anything.
Oh, yeah, true.
More than that, what if the very blood we saw on the body was meant as a kind of camouflage?
Blood was camouflage?
What if, after the killer used the tarp to avoid the sprinklers, they then covered the body in blood that didn't belong to the victim?
You mean someone else's blood? Where would they get something like that?
I know! They could have grabbed some of the blood packs from the nurse's office. That's what Hifumi did, right? When he pretended to be dead?
No, that's not what happened this time. The killer got the blood from right there in the garden.
Chicken.
I got it! Could it have been chicken blood?
What? Chicken blood?
A chicken was missing.
When I checked the chicken coop before the murder, there were 5 chickens. But after the murder, there were only 4.
So, you're saying someone killed a chicken? And then covered the body with its blood? Man, that's messed up.
Killing a living thing just to do something like that is awful. They should have at least eaten it.
I wonder if the killer had to get the blood from the scene so they wouldn't be spotted walking around. Anyway, there's no denying that a chicken went missing, which provides a basis for my theory.
Perhaps, but even so, there's one thing that still doesn't make sense. You said the culprit used the tarp to avoid the water and then covered the body in blood, right? But if that's the case, then the blood should have soaked into the ground around the body. But that's not what we saw. Only the victim's clothing had blood on it. The ground was completely clean.
I have to agree, that certainly is strange. Maybe they didn't apply the blood at the scene. Maybe they covered the coat in blood beforehand.
They covered it beforehand?
When you discovered the body, was it wearing the coat like you normally would?
I think so. Wait, no. The head was through the neck hole, but the arms weren't in the sleeves.
Then that settles it.
Sorry, I'm having a tough time keeping up.
Yeah.
What settles what?
Here's what happened. The murder took place before the sprinklers went off. But the body didn't get wet because the killer covered it with the tarp. Then, later, at the same time the killer was gathering up the tarp, they pulled the coat over the body, the coat they'd already covered in blood. This series of cover-ups was meant to disguise the actual time the murder occurred. They wanted us to think the murder happened sometime after the sprinklers had gone off, at 7:30.
If that's actually what took place, it certainly becomes possible that the murder happened earlier.
But to pull all that off, wouldn't they have had to go back to the garden after the sprinklers turned off?
That actually wouldn't have been all that difficult.
Huh?
They already had the coat ready, so they just had to grab the tarp and pull the coat over the body. They'd be done in no time.
Maybe. But still.
Hina, after you met up with Makoto in the dining hall, did you two stay together from that point on?
Oh no. I headed off to the gym, and Makoto didn't show up till later.
Then he had plenty of time to spare, wouldn't you say?
That's not...
Don't bother saying it's not possible.
I must admit, Kyoko's reasoning is sound. Makoto's alibi is inadequate.
Oh goddamn. And the suspicion falls back onto me again. But why? Why is Kyoko trying to entrap me? I don't understand. This guy's dead body has been added to the truth bullet.
Well then, it looks like we're back to square one. Makoto's alibi is no good, so once again, our suspects are him and Kyoko.
For serious, man? Which one of them did it? Hey, why don't we let luck decide? Let's flip a coin. 50-50 odds.
Oh!
See? Pretty good idea, right?
No, not that. I just remembered something super serious.
Well, don't just stand there. Out with it.
You know that knife we found all black and burnt?
Oh god.
It's one we found stuck in the body before it exploded, right? According to the Monokuma file, the knife went all the way through, from front to back. So, what about it?
I'm pretty sure I'd seen that knife somewhere before. That's what I thought when I first saw it. I just remembered.
Listen, more important, now that we have the knife, what are we going to do with it? We can't let Toko keep it, that's for sure. We don't know what she might do. I don't want it anyway. So what to do? Why didn't you hang on to it, Makoto? Me?
It's the knife we gave to Makoto?
Oh god.
You don't seem surprised. You must have noticed earlier.
Yeah.
Then why did you hide that fact?
It's not that I hid it. It's just...
Someone stole it. I couldn't be sure what actually happened last night. I thought maybe I really did kill.
Suspicious! Very suspicious indeed. The knife we found stuck in the body came from Makoto. Now I'm totally convinced he did it. 12,000% convinced.
Oh god, not only are they convicting me, but they're all gonna die for it. This guy's dead body. I'm gonna fuck this up again, ain't I?
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it?
If he did have that knife, that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer.
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question. You took that knife of yours.
What a horrible
There was a
man
trauma
you
to
are,
the head,
Makoto.
wasn't there?
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it. Makoto.
Just because I had that automatic...
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her.
No,
right?
oh god.
Shoot!
They're gonna kill me, aren't
The
they?
knife we found lodged...
It's the same one we gave to...
It really is, isn't it?
If he did have that knife, that seals it.
Just because I had the... That automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question. You took that knife.
What a horrible man you are, Makoto. The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it?
If he did have that, that seals it. Just because I had that
There's only
automatically
okay.
makes me the
So it's-
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her.
it must be
right?
one of the. It must be the other bullet then.
Shoot!
The knife we found lodged in the dead. It's the same one. It really is, isn't it?
If he did have that, that seals it. Just because I had that automatic. Well,
Getting stabbed is what.
There we go.
no, that's wrong.
They're all so similar, you know. It's annoying.
Wait, hold on. The stab wound isn't what killed Mukuro. That should be clear from the description of the cover-up we just heard.
Lies! We never talked about what killed her.
No, don't you remember? The killer covered the dead body with the tarp, and then put the bloody coat on it, right? In other words, the victim never wore that blood-stained coat until after they were dead.
Okay, fine. So what?
So, when we discovered the body, the knife had been thrust through the coat along with the body. Meaning, if she wasn't stabbed until the coat was put on, and she was already dead at that point, obviously the stab wound isn't what killed her.
Maybe you stabbed her twice. Once to kill her and once to cover it up.
Tabbed what, twice in the same spot? No, there's no way that's possible. That condition of body was written down. They were, however, dead before the blast. The victim had been stabbed a single time.
I got it! The Monokuma file clearly states that there was only one stab wound.
Oh yeah, it sure did. I totally forgot about that.
Then the knife.
Was just another piece of camouflage set up by the true killer. They probably stabbed her to draw attention away from what actually killed her. Exploding the body afterward was probably meant to do the same thing. The explosion severely damaged the body, making it impossible to know what really killed her. It was all the killer's attempt to destroy all evidence of their crime.
So they wanted us to notice the stab wound and then detonated the body afterward. They meant for us to latch onto the knife as the cause of death, then destroy any evidence proving otherwise.
Oh, hey, I have a question. It kind of goes back to the beginning, but what's the deal with that explosion anyway? Why'd the body just blow up all of a sudden like that?
If you bothered to put that lump of gray matter between your ears to use, you'd know the answer.
Well, if you're so smart, just tell me.
I'll tell you. I bet some unknown quantum particle caused an atomic level spontaneous combustion!
I might be dumb, but even I'm not dumb enough to believe that.
Go ahead, Makoto. Tell her or we won't make
Fuck,
any
I
headway
don't know.
on this.
There's only one explanation I can think of the explosion. The bomb in Monokuma. Where? Fragments near the dead body. Could it be the fragments? There were bits of charred breeze near the body. It should have noted the bomb which been removed. Oh, there we go.
I got it! After the explosion, we found a tiny fragment of something on the ground near the body, right? That fragment reveals the cause of the explosion.
Huh?
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I've seen something like it somewhere before.
That's only natural. Because, of course, we saw the same thing when we dismantled Monokuma. It's part of a bomb.
Oh! Then the explosion was because of the Monokuma bomb.
Anyway, the culprit's motive is becoming more and more obvious by the minute. They wanted the knife wound to look like the fatal injury so that we'd suspect Makoto. And the only one who would benefit from that
It's Kyoko.
is the only other possible suspect. You, Kyoko.
Hold on a second, Byakuya.
What's the problem?
Well, I just feel like we need to think this through. We still don't know what actually killed the victim.
That's true. It's definitely bugging me. What really killed her?
Fine. I have no problem with that. Let us continue the debate. It won't change the facts of the case regardless.
I need to concentrate. Monokuma file, #5.
Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined.
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah. She was already.
And it wasn't because of the... Then there's only...
Oh yeah. That's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the...
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined.
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah.
And it wasn't because of the... Then there's
Oh
a...
yeah. That's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that,
The victim had suffered
Okay, I
countless
think I know
wounds
what to
across
do.
her entire. Then, shall we continue? The victim's fatal.
The explosion didn't kill...
Well, yeah.
And it wasn't... Then...
Oh yeah. That's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the...
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire. Then, shall we continue? The victim's fatal.
Injury has yet to be.
There we go.
No, that's wrong. Mukuro died because of the blow to the back of the head she suffered.
What about the wounds all over the rest of her body? They didn't have anything to do with it?
The Monokuma file makes it clear that those weren't fresh wounds.
Oh yeah, good point. If they were old, I guess they don't really matter.
okay, then we're safe in assuming the blow to the back of her head is what killed her.
But then... What was the murder weapon?
The Monokuma file says she was hit with a blunt object, about as thick as a metal pipe.
Oh, I bet it was the pickaxe!
How is that even possible? If you hit someone with that, it'd cave their skull in completely.
Well, maybe they held it the other way and hit her with the handle.
No way! The balance would be all off. You wouldn't be able to swing it with any kind of power. I wouldn't mind testing it on you if you want.
No thanks. I bet you just hit me with the metal end and call it an accident.
I'd love to scoop out that nasty brain of yours, throw it on the ground, and spit on it.
I feel the same way. Looks like we're on the same page this time.
Seriously?
We want to figure out what killed her, right? It just so happens we already know.
We already know? I knew we could count on you, Master.
So what was it?
Go ahead and tell them, Makoto. Surely you've deduced the
Why is it
real
always
murder
me?
weapon?
Could it have been? Can't be an arrow. I have no clue, so I'm just gonna.
I got
Oh,
it!
that worked.
Mukuro was hit in the back of the head with something. And that's what killed her. And that something was the titanium arrow we found in the locker in the
Could they
dojo.
really be that strong?
Arrow. That's what the culprit attacked Mukuro with?
Indeed. There's no doubt about it.
Are you sure? That sounds... kinda weird.
Hey! How dare you backtalk, Master? You have no right!
I'm not back-talking anything. I'm just saying what I think.
Oh, the duct tape. Yep.
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder.
Are you sure?
You don't sound convinced.
Well, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal pipe. It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
Ah, they duct
Back
tape.
to Master.
They duct taped
You have
multiple
no right!
multiple arrows together. That's
The
actually pretty
titanium
smart.
arrow. It was in the dojo. I have no doubt.
Are you sure?
You don't sound.
Well, Because it said the weapon must have been.
It seems like an arrow would just be.
No, that's wrong.
If you use multiple arrows,
You're right. Just the one arrow would have been too weak. That's why the killer used another weapon.
Another weapon?
Inside the dojo locker, we also found a balled-up wad of duct tape. The killer probably used this duct tape to bind multiple arrows together. Bundling them together using the duct tape would easily create a single weapon as thick as a pipe. And that's exactly what the killer did.
It's similar to Aesop's fable about the bundle of sticks. One stick is weak, but put them together, and they become strong. It's meant to teach cooperation.
Damn, that's harsh.
How is it harsh? Are you even listening?
Anyway, that explains the murder weapon. As for who the culprit is that stashed the weapon in the dojo locker,
oh, it was Kyoko.
it was you, Kyoko.
I've never been to the dojo.
Oh no, you absolutely have.
How can you say that with such confidence?
Because we have proof, of course. Don't we, Makoto? What's the matter? Surely you don't intend to protect a murderer. You know what will happen if you do, don't you? If you cover for the culprit, there's only one thing that can lead to. The death of us all, remember?
Of course I remember.
Then show us. Show everyone the evidence that proves Kyoko went to the dojo.
I have evidence. Evidence. I don't want it to be Kyoko though. It's the 6. The wood block
I got
key.
it! The one thing that proves Kyoko was in the dojo is right here. The key to the dojo locker.
And how does that prove anything?
Because I found it in your room.
It was in my room?
Don't bother trying to play dumb. That key is just the final piece of the puzzle. Your non-existent alibi, your clear motive, your attempts to frame Makoto for the crime. This all proves that you are the true culprit. You can't explain this away, so just give up.
Hold on a second.
Not this again. You really are dead set on defending her, aren't you?
No, it's not that I want to defend her. It's just, there's one more thing I need to ask her. Kyoko, I want you to tell me something. Last night, you were in my room, weren't you? Why? What were you doing there? That's what I need to know.
I was just protecting you.
Oh, protecting me like a good waifu. Fucking hell. Detective waifu protecting.
What?
Does that mean she killed the murderer protecting me? And she came to my rescue. Could that be when? Which would mean that Kyoko, she killed someone for me.
That's enough. The time for idle chatter is over. A verdict is close at hand.
Wait. I'm warning you. Don't make this mistake. I'm not the killer.
I knew you were stubborn, but this is just getting ridiculous.
Really? But you should know better than anyone I didn't do it. Can you tell me I'm wrong?
I should know.
What? Byaku should know better than anyone. What does that mean? Don't tell me it was actually Byaku. I wanted it to be one of those three. I don't like any of the three. When the body was found.
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said.
She's not the killer.
I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would never hide something from.
There's proof that you aren't the culprit.
Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime in the dojo locker and then left the locker key in my own room. Correct? But could I really have done that?
She didn't have the key. Oh.
Those words you just spoke.
What do you...
Exactly what I.
I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya!
Master would never.
There's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence and then left the locker key in my own room. But could I really have done that?
God damn, I need to.
Those words you just...
Exactly. I'm not, but you should understand.
Byakuya!
Master would never.
There's proof that you... Is that what you're...
You stated a.
You said I hid the evidence of my and then left the locker key in my own.
But
Oh
could
shit,
I
I
really
missed
have done
again.
that?
Yeah, come on.
Those words you just...
Exactly.
I'm not the killer. You should understand that more.
Byakuya!
Master would never hide something.
There's proof that you aren't the culprit.
Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my and then left the locker key in my own room. But
Could I really have done that?
Those words you just...
Exactly. I'm not, but you should understand.
Byakuya!
Master would never.
There's proof that
You aren't the culprit.
Is that what you're saying?
What?
You stated a.
you said I hid the and then left the locker key in my own room. But
Could I really have done that?
This is fucking hell. You gotta, even if you know what to do.
Those words you just...
Can't land
Exactly.
it.
I'm not, but you should understand.
Byakuya!
Master would never.
There's proof that you... Is that what you're...
you stated a. You said I hid the and then left the locker key in my own room. Correct.
But could I really have done that?
Those words you just...
Exactly. I'm not the killer. You should understand.
Byakuya!
Master would never.
There's proof...
That you aren't the culprit.
There we go.
No, that's wrong.
Could Byakuya have planted it then?
If I'm right, Kyoko wouldn't have been able to get into her room
Huh? Why not?
because she had given her room key to Byakuya.
I see. So that's what you meant. And if I had the key to your room...
Then obviously I had no way of getting in. Without my room key, I couldn't have possibly put the locker key in there myself. Am I wrong?
It would appear not.
Then you're finally starting to understand.
There was a clear contradiction in what Kyoko just told us, an obvious lie. But this just isn't like her. To try and save herself with such a desperate lie. Does she really feel that threatened? Because she's the killer? Or is it something else? Was there some deeper meaning hidden in what Kyoko said earlier? If you vote for me and I die here, the mystery of this school will stay hidden forever. Which is why I can't let that happen. This is a trap the mastermind has laid out for us. The mastermind's trap. The mastermind's trying to trap Kyoko. But what if that's not really true? What can I do? What should I do? What should I... The mastermind's trap. The victim was Mukuru, and Kyoko killed her. What does Kyoko really know? What am I supposed to do? Kyoko's lie. I'm the only one who knows it's a lie. I'm the only one who can expose it, but who can I trust? What am I supposed to do? The mastermind's trap. If you spend all your time trying to avoid danger, you'll never move forward. We know the danger, but if the risks mean solving the mystery, we have no choice. Am I wrong? What do I do? Run away! No, running isn't going to solve anything. Let it go. I've made my decision. I have to believe in Kyoko. Yeah, I believe in Kyoko. There's no way she would kill someone. There has to be some secret here, something that has to do with the mastermind's trap like Kyoko mentioned.
Well, does no one have a rebuttal? Have you decided to accept her assertion as fact? I see. So you still refuse to accept it. I suppose we have to admit that Kyoko didn't put the locker key in her room, that it was someone else.
But who else could it have been?
I mean, Byakuya had a room key, right?
You! What are you trying to imply?
But of course, I have an alibi. From nighttime on, I was with you guys the entire time. I couldn't possibly have killed anyone, or put the key in Kyoko's room.
Well, someone had to put the key in there.
There's only one other possibility I can think of. Someone could have had the key on them, then once they arrived at the scene, pretended to find it there.
What?
It had to be Makoto, right?
I don't see any other option.
Wait a second. You've got it all wrong. let's think about it one more time. There's gotta be a hidden side to this case.
Huh?
A hidden side?
First of all, there's something off about this entire trial. You all see it, don't you?
Monokuma's
Mukuro, who we didn't even know existed, suddenly shows up dead. And then we're thrown into a trial. And Kyoko even said, it's a trap the mastermind set for us. So that's why this has to be...
Okay, time's up!
Huh?
Time's up! Class trial's all over! Everyone...
What? Time's up?
That's what I've never seen that pose.
What do you mean time's up? There's no time's up. Since when have we...
It's because you were late, so we had to push back the start time. So then, it's time for voting time, okay? Everyone, please vote using the lever in front of you!
Voting time?
Oh shit, it's over. And I got an A again. I got 83 medals.
Now, who will be chosen as the Blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one?
Hey, hold on!
What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
They're gonna vote me, aren't they? Yup. Wait, what? I didn't do it though. What? You think I'm the killer? Sorry, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. It's all your fault. It feels so strange. Thank you. Don't let this happen to me. Everyone, you're wrong. You got it wrong. I didn't do it.
Yes, indeed.
Good job, everyone. Good job.
Yep.
Yep, they got it right. That's not... that's not true. None of this makes any sense. This whole trial doesn't make any sense.
Hey!
It makes perfect sense.
Shing!
It's the same as always. It's just like all the other class trials. I'm gonna end it the same way.
Thrills,
It's time for a hot,
chills,
panic, positively
kills!
thrilling punishment. Wait, why do I... Kyoko. Kyoko.
I don't expect you to forgive me. I know this is all my fault.
Kyoko.
Let's give it everything we've got! It's punishment time!
I've got my own punishment. Oh god. Am I really gonna die? I didn't even do the fucking murder. I'm the main character, you can't kill me. After school lesson. Fat load of good that protection did. What? Oh, the ego saved me. What the fuck's going on? Even Monokuma's shocked.